Okay, in this episode, we're going to go over best practices, how to build a landing page for your AI app. We've got Connor here. He's basically going to direct me on how to build this in our app. It's called marketinglens.ai. It's a marketing analyst copilot. So we want to target a certain audience. So we're going to build a page around that. So by the end of this episode, actually, I'll let Connor take it away. But by the end of this episode, Connor, what will somebody learn from this?
Yeah, I mean it's basically you're going to learn how to drive traffic to your application, your website, right? So it's going basically from a blank canvas, a blank screen to something that will convert, right? Getting visibility, gaining traction by building that landing page, getting pre-signups before you even launch if you want to go that far with it, getting the traffic, which helps you gain the analytics for behavior, driving segmentation, understanding what it is that people are actually doing on the landing page. And again, helping position yourself to optimize your application, your website, your service based on what you're seeing. So again, this is really just some 101 stuff to help you guys ideate what you want to set up in terms of a landing page, best practices from a marketing perspective, and how you can take a lot of the tools that you're probably already using, right? Your chat GBTs, your Clodes, Lovables, things like that, and really integrating it from a marketing perspective to, again, help drive that traffic and do it in a very optimized way.
So we'll build the content. We'll build the individual landing page. So Google ranks pages, not websites. Websites are composed of pages. So the idea is to have a high intent page. So for ours would be like marketing analysis.
Yeah, exactly. If we're doing something that's basically, again, it's a marketing analysis tool, right? You'd probably want to rank for something like marketing or spreadsheet analysis tool, right? Marketing analysis tool, marketing spreadsheet analysis tool, right? And there are some steps that you might want to take here beforehand. Charlie, this is where some of your expertise comes in with keyword research, things on the SEO side. And this is where some of that research comes into play that we spoke about in previous episodes of making sure that there's an actual market for what it is that you're going to be building, right? And I know, Charlie, for this use case example, you've done your research. We know that there's a market out here for people who want a tool that you can take a spreadsheet with marketing analytics on it and metrics, upload it, and it spits out a report for you that basically gives you analysis so that you're having to do all the work. So those are the keywords I would look at. I think you have something up right here, marketing analysis, which has an insane amount of search volume to it. But
Look at
obviously,
that.
yeah, let's actually see. I'm not even looking at this. Yeah, that's insane. So again, validating what it is that you're putting together is also extremely important in this, which you've already done. So again, just looking at those keywords and trying to implement them throughout the page as well to make sure it ranks is something you want to do.
Okay, so what we can do, I went to SEMrush, I plugged in. Each individual page should have a target keyword. And in this case, we're going to go after marketing analysis. There's a discrepancy in volume. I would favor Glimpse over this just because it's tied into Google Trends. So if we go view all 36,000 keywords on this, yeah, so marketing analysis will be at the top. It will be the H1. Each page structure, here's a header one. That declares what the page is about. So, and we'll ask Lovable, like, hey, give me 5 ideas for an H1 that makes sense in this context. And then the following content is made up of H2s, paragraph headers, and then subsequent paragraph text, which have keywords inside of it.
To help clarify things too, Charlie, from a marketing perspective, right? I have a really good understanding of SEO, but I think for the listeners and the people watching, when it comes to the keywords and deciding on placement for H1s and H2s, do you decide that based on the search volume and the keyword difficulty, right? Like the numbers that we have up here for the people who are watching. Market analysis has a volume of 9,900, keyword difficulty of 72. Is that
Yeah.
your H1 because of the search volume strictly?
In this case, yes. If we had more time, we would plug in like a close competitor like Julius. Let's just see what Julius. I can reverse engineer what they would rank for. So that ideally what you would do is ideally I'd be more prepared for this, but is to look at your 5 competitors, rip them apart. I would go into Manus, I would crawl it, and I would do a domain comparison. So I would say, here's my app, here's my 3 closest web apps. And then I would prompt Manus, because like Manus says like agents and it crawls and everything.
Yep.
Really, really comprehensive feedback. And I would say I would give the full context of the situation. I want to rank for a landing page with a high intent and high transactional keyword like market analysis or marketing analysis. Give me a list of keywords that I can rank for, keeping in mind the domain is new. This domain of campaignlens.ai is completely new. So it's basically impossible to rank for right now. So we have to buy ads. But as you grow, your domain authority increases, you put in more content, you do more SEO, then you can rank for higher KD keywords like market analysis, comparative market analysis, like stock. Like that doesn't make sense. These here. So that kind of answers your question as far as like what to target. In this case, I would go with the highest volume. I would aim for that as soon as possible, and then just check your Search Console and check your GA4 over time.
No, totally answered my question. I think, again, it's more of the thinking of for the 101 setup, right? What should somebody look for just to get their initial landing page up and running, right? It sounds like it's really just strictly a volume play here, right? So again, for everybody trying to get their first landing page, you do some of your keyword research here, go after the one that makes the most sense from obviously the keyword perspective, but the one that has the most search volume. And then over time, you can iterate, update your page based on other keywords as your domain grows. And I think that's probably fodder for another episode somewhere down the road.
Yeah. So we can take competitive market analysis, SWOT, tools for marketing. So all these keywords can go into your page. Again, your target keyword is marketing analysis. So you want to put that in your H1 title tag, meta description, and then in the rest of the content of the body, you want a inventory of keywords related to marketing analysis, like marketing analysis tools for marketing analysis SWOT. So here, what I would do really is actually, I can just do this right now. We can just export this, plug it into Lovable, which to my understanding has Claude. We're going to shift and let's do an export of this. Let's do 30,000 keywords. You're going to do CSV. Sorry, Claude. Okay, we're going to do that. Move my window over here.
Nice apologizing to the AI.
He has feelings too. Okay. Actually, I've been battling with this thing for invalid file type. Of course it is. Use only. All right. So in this case, I am going to go to, let's just go to GPT-5. Just make it easy. Okay. So I'm uploading the GPT-5. Ideally, I'd use Claude, but let's see what GPT-5 comes with. So I'm going to say I have a domain/AI app that is a marketing analysis copilot. You upload CSV data from GA4, CSV, etc., and it in seconds will analyze it for you. Yeah, that's fine. Analyze it for you. So for context, think hard on this. I'm uploading a large file of target keywords to put on this domain. This is targeting the keyword. What was it? Marketing analysis?
Marketing analysis.
This should be in the H1 title tag meta description, following best practices of SEO, which will guide this along, and then your expertise of UX and all that will come into play here as well.
Yep.
Come up with a content outline in the structure of H1, H2, 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 etc., with subsequent keywords that are relevant from our audience. Target customer is agency owners,
marketing
directors, freelancers in digital marketing sphere. What do you think? Is that enough context?
So this is really great. Again, I think this just gives a very solid walkthrough of where you start. Again, before you even get the page going, of how you validate the keywords, upload them into, again, AI platform of choice. In this case, we're using ChatGPT-5. You could do Claude. You could do anything else that you'd want to use. So I think it's a pretty comprehensive walkthrough. And again, I think you could make this more detailed if we had a little bit more time. I think we probably would. But I think this is a really, really good example of how anybody should approach this in regards to getting their first landing page up.
Okay. So being a top 1% SEO, please whip up a content outline as outlined above. We will then check it and write content from there. So we're using the outline as like the scaffolding of the page.
Exactly right. Like this will
the content. Okay, let's see what happens here. So you can see all my subjects. Whew, long night last night with fix Google off tracking, CTAs off log tracking, campaign performance. Yeah, it was
one of those, huh?
Yeah. Okay, so it's whipping this up, and this is a huge file. I think it said 30,000. Yeah, 30,000. Okay. While this is loading up, what are best practices for above the fold? Like when with web apps, the whole browser is going to load. What are best practices for that section of the page?
Yeah, it's definitely a few things to take into consideration, right? Like if CTA always above the fold, value proposition above the fold, I would typically also recommend any credible sources of information, right? And by credibility, I mean social proof, testimonials, badges, right? If you've been featured in any press, so PR, things like that. I always find that placing those above the fold, this is through extensive A/B testing across a ton of websites through clients that I've worked with. These always add a ton more value and help with conversion rates, right? It doesn't matter what your conversion is, whether it's a purchase or a sign up or a download, etc. Having all of those pieces above the fold are going to be the most pertinent three, right? So again, your value proposition, your CTA, and then having some sort of credibility factor up there as well. Social proof, testimonials, badges, press, anything along those lines would be the top three. Okay. You can squeeze them all up there.
All right. We're going to try here. Let's take a look at some of these keywords. What is market? Okay, so these are good. So is this like just parsing data? Basically, it's saying take this much data, but we're only going to use this much data. And of this much, here's our intent with it. That sounds like what's happening, right? It's like trimming it down.
Correct. Let's go through and see what ChatGPT spit back out for us here from the top. So you have your keyword and CSV preview, your top. Okay, so it's giving you your top 15 keywords by volume. I'd say based on what we just spoke about previously, right? About volume being the most important factor here, you'd probably want to look at those top 15 keywords, but has it given you any additional content or a content outline from that?
Let's see. And also keep in mind, because our domain authority is so low, this is brand new. It really is best practice to target like long tail keywords. Like instead of marketing analysis, it would be like, what's the best practices for marketing analysis? Or, because that's a lower volume. But
good point.
I think does that differ though with tying into Google Ads? Like if we run ads to this, will that be any different?
Not necessarily. No, because anything that you're doing in terms of paid marketing, you're just you can bid on the specific term, right? So if you wanted to just pay to show up for the term marketing analysis, you can pay for that exact term. There is no long tail or short tail keyword when it comes to something like Google Ads, right? You pay for the keyword you want to pay for. If you do want to show up for a long tail keyword, for example, saying the best market analysis tool out there, you can do that with Google. There's ways to go about it. But again, I think that's probably a good topic for an episode to cover later for paid, but it would be a different approach from paid than it is for SEO.
Okay, so these are, it's still going. Filtering privacy and security.
So when you give it 30,000 keywords, I think it's going to take a little bit, most likely.
Yeah, I guess.
So once you get the content outline too. Oh, perfect. So Charlie, now that we have this output from chat, right? Anybody gets this specific similar type of output from any tool they're using. Obviously, you probably go through some iterations, revisions, editing, etc. Make it sound more human-like, right? You don't just want to copy paste it in or anything along those lines. What steps do you take from an SEO perspective here? Do you just go through the edit phase? Do you take it and just put it into Lovable to start building out the landing page? What's your process?
I would take this structure and then I would plug it into Manus just because I like how comprehensive it is. It will take longer for purposes of this video. It'll take a little bit longer. And then I would give it competitors. I would put into Manus. Here's their target domain, scrape it, get an idea of their H1, get an idea of their H2. Why are they ranking so high for this target keyword that I want? I would put in at least 5, and then I would see what it spits out. I would start here, go over there, do the competitor analysis, see what it spits out. Maybe it's different. Maybe it's not that much different in terms of a content outline. And then I can just pull up Claude and I like Claude's copywriting more than GPT, but then I would go to GPT. If I didn't want to use a human writer, I would just use Claude. And then I would take that outline and then oversight it into Claude, give it some context. And then actually, I would prompt it. I would tell one LLM of Manus to prompt Claude with full and just one shot it into Claude from there.
Got it. Is that an intense workflow for most people? How long does that typically take?
Even with AI, SEO is very labor intensive. I guess for now, like we can just use ChatGPT like right here. But yeah, each landing page is going to take you at least an hour and a half. I mean, yeah, like a good one, like proper best practices, that you actually want to, on a commercial app that, you want customers from the internet to find you. Yeah, it's going to take at least an hour and a half.
Okay. No, that makes sense. So, and looking at the output here too, I think this looks good from a marketing perspective, right? I mentioned a few things. It's a fine content outline. Obviously, it needs some human touch to it, editing. It's already missing a few things though, right? It's missing a call to action in there. It's missing some of that social proof. Granted, we didn't put this in any of the direction or the prompt, but if we were to take this and put it into Claude, those would be the additions I would ask for before it even gets to the point of getting laid out in a website builder.
You know what? Let's go to Lovable. Let's see what happens. Let's just mess around with this.
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm going to say, so you're saying, what are best practices? So I'll say include a CTA at the top.
Above the fold.
All right. What else?
Social proof pieces, testimonials or a quote or something, again, that just adds a little bit more credibility.
Testimonial, quotes, third party verification, like ratings. Here's like 10,000
ratings would be fun. Yep, exactly right. Like it doesn't have to be a testimonial. If you want to throw Trustpilot reviews on there or something along those lines, you're totally fine to do that too.
Okay, got it. Okay, so you got include CTA top, above the fold, social proof.
Yep, those would be the two biggest things. And again, it's hard to tell until we get this into Lovable and see what it builds out for us. Being too copy heavy is definitely a thing. You want to try and cut down on that as much as possible. But let's put it into Lovable. Let's see what it spits out for us in terms of design for this actual landing page and go from there.
Just because we're on Lovable, it's Claude. I'll say write a 100-word piece using the outline. Okay, so currently, because we did something, we tightened up the product. Before it was basically a Julius, where it's just like upload a CSV file and you can analyze it, but it was geared towards digital marketers, and it was called CSVfile.ai. And then we completely tailored it and pivoted it to Campaign Lens, which has raised a whole bunch of complexities while building this Lovable. But because of that, we've got old copy on the page. So now we're trying to tighten it up, right? Like know your customer, bait the hook to suit the fish, and we're dovetailing in this content on here. So meaning this is all old content, doesn't look great, but it's structured in a way of this /CSV, which is right here. This is the parent page, and then SEO best practice. Here's the child page. And then this is why you would need a CSV data analysis tool for digital marketing. So it's /CSV, that's the parent page, and then there's the child page. And ideally, I didn't do this yet, but the child page would link to CSV page, and this would link down to create a content silo. So when you build more child pages, so this would be like digital marketing, and then it would be like SEO, and then it would be like
correct. You could build siloed pages based on marketing channel, right? Like CSV for SEO, CSV for paid ads, CSV for organic social media, right? You could build.
Then you link those together, and those all link up to the parent page, and the parent page links down. So it creates like that. Again, content silo. So when you get a backlink, that link equity flows through the entire silo, and that builds topical relevance. And that's the rub that you want. You want the topical relevance. So when somebody goes to Google and searches data analysis tool, up comes your landing page. And then they see above the fold, oh, wow, 10,000 reviews on Trustpilot. All right, I'm in. Free 2-week trial, or I'll drop $50 a month for this tool, like whatever it is. This gets them in front of that website traffic.
Gotcha.
Now, as we scroll down, above the fold is obviously the most important, right?
Correct.
Now, as we go down.
Would say too, right? So if we're looking at this page, again, as the other one's being built, if we're just analyzing this page, very copy heavy one, right?
It's like a white paper, huh?
Yeah, more or less. It's pretty much a white paper, which again, there's nothing wrong with that. Content drives traffic. It drives visibility. It drives search rankings. That's all great. But it's a very, very long page, and it's missing certain elements, right? There's not even call to actions throughout the page, right? And you have to imagine half of your traffic comes from mobile, maybe half of it's on desktop. So if it's long to scroll on desktop, which is what we're on right now, okay, you have a CTA there. How long is it? You have one. You won. So some progress, but how long does this take to scroll on mobile, right? So there's some considerations to make here too, right? If you don't want to remove any of the content because it's all pertinent and it needs to be on there because it's driving good organic visibility, why not update it to be drop downs, right? Instead of all just boxed in. Or why not reorient the layout so it's not as long in terms of how much you have to scroll to go down the page. But I would definitely add more CTA elements within there, and I would definitely reconsider the layout just based on how lengthy it is and how much somebody has to scroll.
So I'm on Julius, very established player, great product. I go into use case, and then I go into marketing. And you can see they have their site structure wired just like we were talking about, like use case / data science / scientific research / education and analyze marketing data. So I'm guessing that's the target keyword. And then with AI, some modifier, okay, terminating marketing data and clear insights using AI data analysis, get started. So the call to action. So you're saying that the one thing they're missing right here is that third-party verification?
Yes.
So now, would all of that come through in heat mapping?
You would be able to see all. Yeah, you'd be able to see all that in like heat mapping tools.
Visualize marketing data. See trends in your data, get clear visually. Okay. So very image. Oh wow, there's almost no
text on here. It's all image based. So again, another switch as you go to charts and graphs.
Yeah, it's dynamic.
Again, I think the point here too is what Julius may be leaning into more is that people aren't reading these days anymore, right? Like, and if they are reading, again, it's more testimonials, use case experience, things of that nature, where they're less inclined to read unabout or very long-winded pages that go into high-depth detail about the actual product.
Now, do you think they're running a lot of paid ads?
I would assume that there's some paid ads running for Julius. I'm willing to bet if we did some research on them, that there's some paid ads that are showing for them.
How would you do that? What tools can you use for that?
You could go into Moat would be one that you could look at. I mean, you could just do some general searches too if they're trying to rank on specific keywords. You could even go if you want to go into Meta, they have basically like a repository or catalog where you can see anybody who's running ads at any given time. So you could look up Julius and see if it's pretty cool. You could actually go in and just see anybody who's running any type of display ads at any given time. So those would be the three that I would kind of just look at first, just to see. And listen, the biggest indicator is going to be is if you go on Julius, which I know you've been on a lot, Charlie, are you getting retargeted at all in any capacity, whether it be like a Gmail promotion, a display ad, anything of that nature, or are you not seeing too much?
I don't know, because I've just been on Lovable the past 5 days.
So if you're just blind to it, you may not even be seeing it. But typically the biggest indicator is retargeting, because you should be running retargeting ads anyway, especially for something like this. But so you can go to those three just to take a look.
Like retargeting, like what do you mean by that exactly?
So like if you go, like you've been on a website before, right? Like Julius, or let's just say a shopping website, right? You've gone on somewhere to buy clothing, and then 2 hours later you go on a website to read an article, right, about, I don't know, your favorite sports team, the Avalanche, right? And on that website, when you're reading the sports article, on the right and the left, you see these little boxes, and it's a display ad, and one of the ads is for the clothing store that you were just on their website 2 hours ago. So that would be a prime example of a retargeting display ad.
Little rascals.
Little rascals. Yep. So, and again, everybody gets
those.
Quite annoyed by those, but they're pretty integral to marketing. So I love them. They're great for me, but I know everybody doesn't love them.
Okay. So in the next episode, as we wrap up here, Lovable, we've just been having a great time with Lovable the last couple of days. Goodness gracious. Actually, I've mostly great things to say about them. There's just a hiccup with the app. We're having a representative from Lovable on our podcast the next episode, which is pretty cool. The tool's very easy to use. So as we wrap up here, what should people keep in mind? And then what should we talk about in the next episode?
Yeah, I think it's really, listen, we could and should continue the landing page, because I think this is so integral to visibility. and pre-signups, traffic, analytics. Like this ties so well into everything we've already spoken about. So I don't want to just drop talking about landing pages. I'd really love to follow through with kind of seeing a completed landing page build. And I think what we can tag on to the back end of that is maybe some more event building, which we haven't done. But if there's any takeaways for this episode, right, again, building your application is one thing, but making sure that there's a visible place for people to go to see it is another thing, right? Building it and hoping people stumble across it is keeping your fingers crossed and hoping that occurs. You need to have a landing page in order for people to get there. Again, pre-signups, signing up, downloading, paying for the service, whatever it is that you're trying to achieve, getting the traffic, getting all of those analytics, monitoring the behavior, now being able to segment it, be smarter with how you're spending your marketing dollars if you are putting money behind it, or just understanding who your audience is in general. So getting a landing page up, first and foremost, doing that initial keyword research that we just spoke about earlier in the episode is really, really pertinent to this as well. And then starting to use AI tools, whether it's chat or Claude or something else, to draft that initial content outline for you. Those would be the first three big steps, right? We didn't get too far into the actual creation of it. I think we can pick that up on the next one, show everybody what that looks like. And to follow that up, maybe start adding some actual analytics tags and some events to it, which will tie everything into.
Should. Okay, awesome. We'll be back in the next one with that and more, and be more prepared on my side. Again, I ran a couple issues last night being prepared, but no, we spit something out here pretty good. So we'll be back on the next one.
Peace, guys.
Peace.